Hello and welcome back for your daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to cover a tad bit of news, as well as the LCK series that took place Wednesday and Thursday, and lastly, preview tomorrow's schedule in the LCK as well as the LEC. So, the news, Rogue have officially announced Finn. I know is other news that is rumored, or even maybe players have said they're going somewhere, but until it's in the contract database, I don't really give a shit. So, Finn is replacing Sisgenda. Finn played with Rogue in the past. I feel like this is more of a, um, you know, familiarity move than anything else. I do not think Finn is better than Sisgenda. I think they're different top laners at the same time as well. Um, so with Astralis last year, Finn had a 2-2 KDA, 7.5 CS per minute, 50.6 KP, weak side top laner. There were games that he did carry. I believe some Gnar games stick out to me as one of his better champions when Astralis did have a decent split. 371 gold per minute, which was 21% of gold. 497 damage per minute was 24% of Astralis' damage. On average, he's behind at 15 minutes, about 150 gold and 10 CS, which is, over a 42 game span, a lot of CS. 60 XP up, 18 solo kills, 15 champions played. Sisgenda, I think, is a pretty strong laner. To be honest, usually ahead, and that's indicative in these scores and stats, this split, as well as over his career. 1.8 KDA, 8.6 CS per minute, 59 KP. Rogue were not a very, how do I put this? They were not an entertaining team, very slow, just slowly dying every game, which is why Sisgenda was able to farm so much as well. We must keep that in mind. And then when they did fight, he would die as well as the rest of Rogue because Rogue just played like garbage. And hence 59 KP as well. I mean, the team didn't get kills on their own. They were a ball and somehow got kills as they lost team fights. 376 gold per minute, which was about 21.7% of gold. 519 damage per minute, which was 27% of the team's damage. So he was the secondary carry on Rogue. That's a very different type of player compared to Finn. Finn is not a secondary carry. He is a third tier weak side carry. So is Larson going to get more gold? Is Comp going to get more gold? We'll have to figure that out. And at least in terms of damage output. 30 XP, 7 CS, 65. Jesus Christ. 30 gold, 7 CS, 65 XP up. No solo kills, 5 champions in 9 games. I mean, Sisgenda, he's LEC level in my opinion. A lot of people, are saying this top laner shouldn't be in the LEC, that top laner should be in the LEC. But then it's like, okay, well, who do you suggest should be taking their place in the LEC in ERLs? I'm not talking about Thanatos. I'm not talking about Solo Kill or anybody else who is an import that doesn't have a job. I'm saying, okay, well, where are the replacement LEC tops? And I don't see them anywhere, really. Some people, I know there's someone in the Discord that brings up Nako. But he hasn't played a lot the last couple of years. He's a young player with a lot of potential, a Turkish top, but last year I don't think he played at all. So you got to kind of wait on a player like that. Recap for my predictions. I went 3-1 on this board, as many people did, because KT upset Gen G on Wednesday. 2-0, so now they're 5-2. Gen G 6-1. BDD 8-4-15, 28% of damage. Perfect 7-1-15 in top lane. Pays 9-6-4, 37% of damage in the loss. Now, I didn't watch those games until about an hour ago. I don't watch spoilers or things like that. I watch them and take notes on the board and then do that, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. And at first I thought maybe Gen G came out flat, but they really didn't. Now, were they at their best? Absolutely not. But game one, laning phase was 17 minutes, and they had a gold lead at when the first tower fell, 500 gold up, and they were ahead in every lane, 22 CS in the jungle, Canyon over Pioshik. Now, a lot of people want to say Pioshik gapped Canyon. Personally, I think Pioshik was MVP. I think he was the best player, but does that mean that he gapped Canyon? I don't believe so. I think he just was the best player on the day. Now, Pays a couple 2v2 kills to start this one off on Lucian. Canyon clearly indexing into Chovy, trying to get him ahead of BDD, going twice there. Pyosik went bot twice. Canyon took two grub spawns, whether it was one grub spawn or Rift Herald, or vice versa, or two grub spawns. I mean, it's one or the other. Pyosik didn't take any. And then they traded Drake. So, in terms of making things happen, Canyon actually made more things happen in terms of trying to make plays. Now, what came of those plays? Not nearly as much as what Pyosik did on the Lee Sin. Pyosik was on another level. Like, his success rate was very high. He really, like, executed well on his ganks and was fed. That is where I would say, okay, maybe he had the edge over Canyon in that regard, but to say he was gapped, I don't think so. Looking at how it was at the end of laning phase when mid-game began, Gen G were pretty much tied and ahead in all four areas. Canyon had gold. Do you want Canyon to have all that gold? Probably not, but he did. Barrel on the Nautilus was strong in both games. Game 1, his hooks were on point, and then BDD on the Talia, very effective with seismic shoves and weaver walls to keep Gen G not only away from objectives, but also seismic shoves, bringing people in and providing CC and getting kills. Now, Game 2, if it was Game 1, I would have said Gen G came out flat because it was a 12-minute laning phase, KT up 3k gold, 24 CS lead for Perfect over Keen, 27 CS lead for Pyosik over Canyon. Chovy was up 16. There wasn't a lot of action in laning phase, and Pyosik took both grub spawns and a Drake. Canyon took a Drake and went bot lane once, and Gen G got blown out. So, Game 2, if it was Game 1, and I would have said, okay, well, Gen G just kind of weren't ready for it, but they were. So, Barrel on the Nautilus outplays a bot lane dive to allow Viego to get some gold and allow, KT to continue being strong. Perfect on the Kesante was very strong in team fights alongside Pyosik, and really, those were the difference makers in this one. Deft has a nice KDA in the stats, but he played Senna both games, and I felt like, although he did a good job playing Senna, he just didn't really stick out to me as the strongest players from this one. So, Pyosik MVP for that. KDF, DRX, KDF 4-3. DRX now 1-6 as the Freaks 2-0 DRX. Bulldog 14-1, 17, 36% of damage. Bull 4-0, 30. He played Senna both games. And then Teddy 2-8 and 4, 33% of damage in the loss. So, laning phase very slow in this one. Combined, before both turrets were taken in these games, it was 38 minutes and 15 seconds. Very boring games. Game 1, 17-30. KDF have a 1.6k gold lead, 25 CS lead in top lane. Dudu was MVP for me. 12 CS lead in the jungle, 20 in mid, and DRX's bot lane ahead 22. And that was in part due to Sponge going bot lane, creating some pressure, and going mid lane, cuz not getting a lot done in Game 1. Outside of, they had a gold lead naturally just by being better. It just wasn't, because he was really doing a lot, in my opinion. Dudu on the Aatrox, solo killed Rascal. Rascal, once again, just to reiterate, Rascal is washed. And then, not only that, KDF did try and DRX did try and force plays in the bot lane. Like I said, they did go bot once. But also Teddy and Playeta were aggressive, and that's why they got their CS lead. But Bulldog on the way, very strong in mid-game team fights, and took over the game. Although that the laning phase wasn't the best, he made a big difference when the team fights began, and Dudu on the Aatrox was just so strong and so fed, it was hard to ignore him. Game 2, 20-minute laning phase, and DRX only had a 1.1k gold lead, 46 CS lead for Satab over Bulldog. Satab on the One was very strong in the early game. I actually had a solo kill. And Sponge very active in getting things done. Because laning phase was nearly 21 minutes, he took both grub spawns, took Rift Herald, and was at sole point. Like, DRX were in a position to win this game, because on the Lee Sin in team fights, made things happen, and then Dudu on the Kesante had pinpoint accuracy in taking who he had to take with his ultis, as well as just being Kesante. It was a Kesante moment. It was the Dudu show, And, I mean, it's not a surprise that he was the only player in Game 2 with a CS lead in his matchup, because he was the one who carried. And that was also due in part to Cuz. Cuz did go topside once. I will give him some credit. He was more active in Game 2, went mid lane twice as well. T1 D plus, T1 2-0 as they go 6-1, D plus 2-5. That's a big shock just how poorly they're playing. Faker 7-3-16, 28% of damage. Carrier 9-3-19. And then aiming 9-7, or wait, 4-7-9, 34% of damage in the loss. So game 1 was pretty lopsided. T1 up 4.1k gold at 16 minutes. 37 CS lead for Carrier and Guma. In bot lane, Carrier on the Ashe, essentially playing AD carry. I had a 2v2 kill and then 2 solo kills in the mid game on both Lucid and then aiming as the support Ashe. Just on another level in game 1. Owner on the Poppy, very integral to them getting their leads everywhere. He went mid lane twice. He took 2 Drakes on bot side. Got a kill in the jungle, or at least made something happen in the jungle. Lucid was not non-existent. He went mid lane twice, top lane, but it didn't make much of a difference because Carrier was so strong on the Ashe, 100% KP with hawk shots and obviously easy W's, had some nice arrows as well. And then Zeus on the K'Sante had a solo kill and was very strong. I mean, and like, there was actually, I think that solo kill came in a 2v1 and he was the one. Just dominant game 1. Now game 2, D plus were ahead. They threw game 2 in my opinion, due to macro. They found plays, but the gold was tied. So at 13:45, gold's tied. 38 CS lead for Zeus over Kingin, 25 for Owner, Faker up 17, but the bot lane of D plus in a good position. Kellen on the Rakan had a 2v2 kill. Aiming on the Xayah was strong. I think they're up 7-0 in kills in the mid game, but Faker's in a side lane taking your inhib turret in top side. So T1 were finding ways to keep gold close. And then when the team fights finally occurred, they had a couple Drakes in their pocket. They had a couple Grubs, so they were able to take turrets. Zeus on the Aatrox dealt the most damage in the game-altering team fight in Game 2, and that's why he ends up being MVP. His KDA wasn't the best in Game 2 anyways. It was like 239 or something last at one point or towards the end of the game. But the fight that turned it, he led the team in damage, and it was around the Drake pit. And in my opinion, he was the one that got the most done. Carry on the Tom Kench, a nice 2-man knock-up in a fight in topside that really started actually, like, T1 had the lead after Zeus' fight. Carrier ends up pushing it to the next level with that one. And Faker on the Orianna probably deserves MVP for Game 2 by itself, just because he was able to keep them in it with his macro and shot calling in that regard. But when you combine both games, I end up giving it to Zeus. HLE and Brion. HLE are 6-1. Brion 0-7 as Hanwha Life 2-0 bro. Viper 5-1-22, 28% of damage. Peanut 2-2-21. And Somber 6-4-7, 35% of damage and loss. And I'm going to say this, and if you've been around for a while, you'll be surprised. I have a reason to want to watch Brion play right now. And it's that bot lane duo of Somber, Palu. Because, you know, you watch them against T1, and in game 1, they got slammed. Absolutely railed in game 1. It was, Caitlyn Lux or something into Senna bot, and they were just completely railroaded, like, under 8 minutes or 9 minutes, their turret was taken. But in game 2 of that series, they came back and they packed a punch. They didn't roll over, and they got a 2v2 kill, and they were they seemed like, hey, that game's behind us, we're on to the next one. And against HLE, Viper and Delight. So Guma Carrier, Viper, Delight. There is an argument to be made there that they are the two best duos in the world. Are they outright? It's an argument, right? You can put Ruler missing in there, Jackie Love Mako, and I would not elk on. No one's batting an eye, right? I think you could, but the fact of the matter is this: the true point is you have two elite, super elite bot lane duos, and you have a rookie bot lane duo that makes their debut against these two bot lanes. And Samver, he has something. And frankly, Bro probably don't deserve it, the way that they kind of just handcuff their players. And Palu looked very good as well. So game one, HLE are up 2.5k gold at about 17 minutes. But Peanuts making things happen. He went bot side twice, top lane once. And Bro only go bot side once. HLE have both grub spawns. They have both Drakes. But there's a 4 CS lead for the bot lane duo of Samver Palu. And obviously that could be matchup based. What's 4 CS? Not a lot. But against Viper Delight, that's pretty good for a bot lane duo that got smoked just a week earlier. 17 CS lead for Zeka. Zeka ends up being MVP. So Samver on the Lucian, 2v2 kill in game one. Give them the credit that they deserve. Now, Doran on the Aatrox, mid-game team fights became a menace. Super strong. And Brion really didn't have an answer. And then Zeka on the Orianna, nice shockwave in a key team fight that ended up giving HLE what they needed to finally to boost them to victory. Game two, a lot closer. At 15-30, 400 gold lead for HLE. Samver Palu are up 32 CS. Now that's not 4 CS. That's a lot of CS. That's a diffie. They diffied Viper Delight. Now what transpired to get you there? Well, Samver on the Varus is willing to flash in and get first blood. And honestly, that's the sort of, that's what I want to see. That's the aggression that Bro doesn't deserve, because the way in which they, for some reason, have played for years, and I blame management because that's the only thing that's been there the whole time. That was not a Bro play. That was like a play you'd see a T1 player make. And it's not to say Samver is as good as a T1 player, but it's the mentality of it. Now, Zeka on the Akali, mid-game team fights, super strong. Able to take Samver out of team fights, and that won them game two. Viper on the Senna did deal quite a bit of damage in game two, and dealt the most damage in the game-deciding team fight. Ends up leading the team in damage as a result. But the real thing that I took from this is just how good Samver could be, and Palu alongside him is no slouch as well. I'm excited to see how they do against Nongshim, because Nongshim is a comparable, right? A young bot lane in Jiwoo Peter, obviously more experienced than these two, but also they are not as good, nearly as good as T1 HLE. So if things hold true, Bro's bot lane should win that 2v2 pretty handily. Sneak peek for tomorrow, Nongshim KT. Nongshim 1-5 coming off of lost HLE. KT 5-2 coming off of a win against Genji. Last time they played KT 1-2-1, half the starters are the same. BDD 8-7, 26, 24% of damage. I'm assuming Call Me starts for Nongshim, could be wrong. FearX KDF, FearX 3-3, lost to Genji. KDF 4-3, beat DRX. Last time they played, it was Liv Sandbox who would win 2-0. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. The solo lane matchups remain the same. Clear Closer 15-3, 27, 52% of damage. Doodoo and Bulldog 5-11, 8, 57% of damage in the loss. That's obviously a close matchup in the standings and a close matchup in general. LEC. So LEC best of 5 start tomorrow. Mad Lions Koi 5-4. Fnatic 5-4. They played a week ago or so. Fnatic would win 2-0. Noah 13-2-13. 30% of damage in the win. Suppa 5-7-9. 23% of damage in the loss on the opposite side. That'll be an interesting one. I think it'll be close because Mad are playing with Synergy, and that was going to eventually happen in winter because we have players that have played together before. Now with Fnatic, they seem to be getting better. The bot lane duo of Noah June continue to get better, and they played very well in their last series against SK. The bot lane, obviously Oscarinin did not do well, so top lane matchup is definitely mad favored, and we'll see if Mirwin can get the job done, frankly, for that one. So that's it for the Daily Dose. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.